Have you ever felt like life is testing you from every direction? Have you ever worked hard, stayed honest, done everything right, and yet received nothing in return? Have you ever watched other people move ahead while you remain stuck in the same place, wondering when your time will finally come? If your answer is yes, then today's story might change the way you look at your struggles forever. Because sometimes the darkest chapter of our lives appears just before the most beautiful transformation. Sometimes life breaks us, not to destroy us, but to rebuild us into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable than we ever imagined. Today, I am going to share a powerful story inspired by the wisdom of Buddha. This is the story of a young man who faced rejection after rejection, failure after failure, until he reached a point where he almost gave up on himself. But one meeting with a wise master changed everything, and the lessons he learned that day transformed his entire life. Listen carefully, because these lessons might transform yours as well. Let's begin. Long ago, in a small village surrounded by forests and mountains, there lived a young man named Arjun. Arjun was intelligent, he was hard-working, and he carried big dreams in his heart. He wanted to lift his family out of poverty. He wanted to build a better future for his parents, and above all, he wanted to prove that determination and hard work could change a person's destiny. For many years, he studied with complete dedication. He learned reading, writing, discipline, and many valuable skills. When his education was complete, he stepped into the world with confidence. He believed opportunities would come naturally, but life had different plans. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months. Arjun searched everywhere for work. He visited merchants, he visited wealthy landowners, he visited government offices. He traveled from village to village, yet everywhere he went, he received the same answer. "We don't need anyone right now. Come back later. There is no position available." At first, he remained hopeful. Then he became worried. Eventually, he became exhausted. Every rejection felt like a stone being placed on his shoulders. The weight grew heavier every day. The worst part was not the lack of money. The worst part was the feeling that no matter how hard he tried, nothing was changing. One evening, after another disappointing day, Arjun walked home through a forest path. His feet were tired, his mind was heavy, and his heart was filled with doubt. Long ago, in a small village surrounded by mountains and dense forests, there lived a young man named Arjun. Arjun was not born into wealth. His family struggled to make ends meet, and every day was a challenge. But despite his circumstances, he carried a dream in his heart. He wanted to change his destiny. He wanted to create a better life for his parents and prove that hard work could overcome even the greatest obstacles. From a very young age, Arjun believed that education was the key to success. While other children spent their days playing, he spent countless hours studying and learning. He was disciplined, focused, and determined. His teachers admired him, and his family was proud of his dedication. Years passed, and eventually, Arjun completed his education. He was confident that his efforts would finally bear fruit. He believed that the world would recognize his talent and reward his hard work. But life had prepared a different path for him. Filled with hope, Arjun began searching for a job. He traveled to nearby towns, visited merchants, landowners, and government officials, hoping someone would give him an opportunity. Every morning he left home with confidence, and every evening he returned with disappointment. Wherever he went, he heard the same words: "We have no work for you. There are no vacancies. Come back another time." Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, still nothing changed. The savings his family had managed to gather slowly disappeared. The pressure at home increased. His parents never complained, but Arjun could see the worry in their eyes. Every time he looked at them, he felt a deep sense of responsibility. He wanted to help them. He wanted to support them. But despite all his efforts, he remained unemployed. As time passed, self-doubt began to creep into his mind. Maybe I am not good enough. Maybe all my education was useless. Maybe success is only meant for certain people. These thoughts began to consume him. The same young man who once walked with confidence now walked with uncertainty. The dreams that once inspired him now felt heavy. Every rejection felt like a wound. Every failure made him question himself a little more. One evening, after another exhausting day of searching for work, Arjun found himself walking through a forest path on his way home. The sun was beginning to set. Golden light filtered through the trees. A cool breeze moved through the forest. Yet despite the beauty around him, his heart felt heavy. His mind was filled with worry. He wondered how much longer he could continue. He wondered if all his efforts would ever lead to anything. As he walked deeper into the forest, he noticed something unusual. Not far from the path stood a peaceful monastery. The place seemed calm and serene. Outside the monastery, beneath a large banyan tree, sat an elderly monk surrounded by several students. The monk was speaking, and every student listened with complete attention. There was something about the scene that immediately captured Arjun's curiosity. He slowly walked closer and sat beneath a nearby tree. Without making a sound, he began listening to the monk's words. The monk spoke calmly. His voice was gentle yet powerful. He said, "When a person faces great difficulties, he often believes that life is punishing him, but in reality, life may be preparing him." The students listened silently. The monk continued, "A seed buried beneath the soil does not know that one day it will become a mighty tree. During its darkest moments, it may believe it has been forgotten, yet beneath the surface, something extraordinary is happening." Arjun felt as though the monk was speaking directly to him. The monk continued, "Many people give up because they cannot see immediate results. They mistake preparation for failure. They mistake slow growth for no growth. Remember this, just because you cannot see progress does not mean progress is not happening." These words touched something deep inside Arjun. For months, he had focused only on what he lacked. He had focused only on his failures. For the first time, he began to wonder whether there might be another way to look at his situation. The monk continued, "The darkest night often comes just before dawn. When everything appears to be falling apart, do not lose hope. Sometimes, life removes what is no longer serving you so that something better can take its place. When all doors seem closed, it may simply mean that you have not yet discovered the door that was meant for you." As Arjun listened, he felt a strange sense of peace. The burden he had been carrying seemed slightly lighter. When the teaching finally ended, the students bowed respectfully and returned to their duties. Soon, only Arjun and the monk remained beneath the tree. The monk looked at him and smiled. "My son," he said softly, "you have been listening very carefully." Arjun stood up and bowed respectfully. "Master," he replied, "your words touched my heart. I feel as though you understand exactly what I am going through." The monk gestured for him to sit. "Tell me your story." And so Arjun began. He spoke about his education. He spoke about his dreams. He spoke about his endless search for work. He spoke about his disappointments, his fears, and the growing belief that perhaps he would never succeed. The monk listened patiently. He did not interrupt. He did not judge. When Arjun finished speaking, silence filled the air. For several moments, the monk simply looked at him. Then he smiled. "My son," he said, "the problem is not that you have failed. The problem is that you have started believing that failure defines who you are." Arjun lowered his head. The monk continued, "Failure is an event, it is not an identity. A person may fail many times and still become successful, but the moment he believes he is a failure, he begins to create a prison inside his own mind." Arjun looked up. For the first time in many months, he felt a spark of hope. Then the monk said something that would change his life forever. "If you are willing to learn, I will share with you 7 principles that have helped countless people transform their lives." Arjun immediately folded his hands. "Please teach me, Master." The monk nodded. "Then listen carefully, because these lessons are simple, but if applied with sincerity, they have the power to change your destiny."